Hey race fans, this is Ben Deathridge with the Beyond the Flags podcast. I know it's been a while, things have just been busy with traveling and all the duties with IMCA, but we've got a special guest on the program coming up, none other than Bob Harris, to talk to us about the 2025 Harris Clash. And there's a lot of changes, a new venue, a new division added to the card, and much more. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, the Harris Clash is one of those crown jewels of the Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program, and a lot of changes in 2025. And to talk about those changes, we have Bob Harris, the founder of this event. Bob, it's always a pleasure to have a chance to talk with you. In 2025, I guess it's really what hasn't changed. There's so many new things going on for this great race.
Yeah, we've really put together a lot of changes. You know, we felt that it was time to change it up. Deer Creek was an awesome facility. The problem we run into up there is a different sanctioning body that runs there weekly. And so we started having problems getting the actual fans. And of course, for the IMCA fan, it's like a 3-hour drive. So we struggle getting fans. So it's just kind of a situation where it was time to take a look at moving it somewhere back in central Iowa. And we had quite a few options, some really nice racetracks. But I kind of chose Boone. We were in Boone in 1994. And of course, you know as well as I do that Boone produces some pretty darn good racing. We get to spend 8 days there in September and watch over 1,000 cars go through there. So they know how to run a show. And I'm just excited. 34th annual Harris Clash by Weir's Machine and Racing Products. It's going to be a whole new look, a whole new deal. Plus, this year we've added stock cars to the mix. So it's going to be modified as normal. The SportMod class, of course, is for sure. And then we added stock cars this year. So, yeah, a lot of changes.
Well, and I was going to say, I know that for a lot of, it seemed like a long time, at least, that, you know, the stock car guys had reached out like, hey, what would it take? And, you know, with certain things, it's like, man, we'd have to make it kind of a 2-day show, but not, you know, Boone is able to accommodate that, I guess is the best term to use.
Well, and it is because, you know, once again, you know, they're accustomed to running a lot of race cars in a night. And so that's the thing. I didn't want to make it a 2-day show. 2-day show just costs the racers more money. You know, I like shows where you get in, you race, you have fun, you get out, go home, sleep in your own bed, you know, and by moving it to Boone, you know, we've got a tremendous amount of race fans and racers that are, you know, an hour away.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's kind of one of the hearts when it comes to IMCA racing. Boone on the weekly has had great car counts. I mean, holy smokes, well over 150 cars, especially, you know, at the start of the season, and it's consistent. And as you said, the program that they run it seems like no different than Super Nationals. Just get in, get out, and then have some fun afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was there Saturday night for their weekly show, and it was all classes, phenomenal racing. The racetrack was in excellent shape. They've just done an awesome job all year preparing the racetrack. It's very fast, and but they put on some pretty good shows. I mean, and it's not like it's the leader starting where he is and going. I mean, you know, Jeremy Mills a couple of weeks ago came from 10th to win it. And so there's still a lot of passing. The racetrack it's just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the divisions there have been exciting. And to see, you know, kind of some of the common theme of it doesn't, like you said, Jeremy Mills, doesn't matter if he starts towards the front or deep in the invert. He's finding a way to the front. I mean, Cam Reimers has been fun to watch in the SportMods, as well as a couple other drivers. Of course, the stock cars are always great at Iowa's Action Track.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, they produced some really good racing last weekend, and I've been there. I think I've been there like 4 times this year, and I've yet to be disappointed. The racetrack is smooth, and it's definitely a good job. So I'm looking forward to June 24th. Hopefully we'll have, the good Lord will bless us with a non-rain day, and it's just going to be an exciting event. I mean, the fans are going to get a show like no other.
And for you, it's great, a little bit of a home game, but to have it come back to Iowa since 2017, that's got to make it a little bit special too. And that's nothing to take, like we said earlier, nothing to take away from Deer Creek or anything bad about Minnesota.
Yeah, like I said, the one thing that I will enjoy for sure is the 36-minute drive to my house after the races are over. That beats 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. A lot of racers are looking forward to that. I mean, Jimmy Gustin's planning on running both of his cars, stock car and his modified there. And Jimmy hasn't been at the Harris Clash for over 10 years. And so he's excited to get to come and race the Harris Clash. And a lot of people are just excited that we moved it to Boone. And like I said, it's just going to be an awesome show. I mean, the fans are going to get a one-day show that's fantastic.
Well, and what's really, really cool about this event is it brings a lot of tough customers, but it's not as you said, it's not a 2-day show. It's not a multi-day event. If you want to win, you've got to be pretty much perfect every single time you hit the racetrack, and you have to have maybe a little bit of lady luck on your side too.
Well, and that's definitely true. Luck is a huge part in this whole racing industry, but you just got to come here prepared. Because like I said, people will say, "Oh God, I got a bad draw," and then I'll see them go, from last to second. Well, the way we're doing the deal. This year, whoever wins the heat race will automatically qualify and then redraw. But whoever gets second will actually be by passing points. So, if you get a stacked heat and you end up starting dead last in a heat, but you pass the most cars, you're going to get that second place point deal and be able to start up front in the feature. So that's going to be a big thing. Our running order, we're going to change it up a little bit over what normal is. We're going to actually run the stock cars first. They're new. We're going to run the SportMods second, and we're going to run the modifieds last, of course. So, a lot of little changes to the order and how the event's going to run, and I think it's going to be great for all the racers because sometimes. If the stock cars run too late, they kind of tend to run around the bottom. Where I think if they run, up front, they'll have a top and a bottom. The SportMods always kind of have a top and a bottom, and of course the modifieds, usually run around the top. But there's also a pretty good bottom too. I mean, Jake McBurney passed a lot of cars on the bottom the other night. And so, I mean, the racetrack's just been awesome all the way around.
Well, and you look at the winners list, and there's been a lot of different winners. It hasn't been particularly dominated by any single driver. For SportMods, and correct me if I'm wrong, 3 drivers have won twice, and for the modifieds, about 5 drivers have won twice. Cam Reimers has won the last 2 straight and would be Mr. 3-time if he could do it. And that, I think, speaks for how hard it is, going back to this is a hard race to win. And the guys that show up, I mean, there was a streak there in 22 and 23 between Tom Berry Jr. and Tim Ward. They won that, and then they also went on to win the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals, but fueled by Casey's.
And that's the thing, and that's another advantage, for the drivers out of town. I mean, like we've got Shelby Williams coming from Texas. But the drivers out of town, it's one more opportunity to get on this racetrack before Super Nationals. So, it's important, but it's another opportunity to get on the racetrack that has the famous Super Nationals in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time it's ever been in June? Because I know it's been, it started in September back in the early 90s, and then late July, early August kind of window for the longest
Correct.
time? Okay.
Yeah, we kind of went away from August. August seems to be a busy time for families, and they're just getting ready to go back to school, so they're taking their last vacation. And when you talk to most promoters, their crowd attendance has a tendency to be down in August. So we wanted to move it. I wanted to move it to June so that we got in front of all those races in July, because, man, there's a boatload of races in July. And by the end of June, I'm hoping the weather's kind of settled down a little bit, and things, we get some decent weather. And so it just makes more sense to me to try to run it in June.
Sure. I know that obviously you're a busy individual, and I'm always thankful for your time. And I know that you put your heart and soul in this race, and you've got a great amount of support and folks that help you too. Any shout outs that you want to put out there for either sponsors or maybe some people behind the scenes that is able to make everything happen and make these Harris Clashes memorable?
Well, first of all, I have to thank my family, because my daughter Amy and my son Bobby, they all put a lot into this to make it happen. I couldn't do it by myself, and the rest of the staff here at BHE. Maggie does a great job with all the posts and the social media stuff. But sponsors, I couldn't do it without Chad Weir's Machine. They're our title sponsor. B&B Chassis just came on to be the title sponsor for the stock car division, and Fast Shafts has always been our title sponsor for our SportMod division, and they're back again this year. And we've got Logue Fabrication. He's going to be the heat race sponsor for the stock cars. Alliance Insurance is going to be the modified sponsor for the heat races, and BHE is going to be the SportMod heat race winners. And we've got a lot. I mean, Aero Race Wheels is given a set of wheels to each division, and I mean the list is huge. There's a lot of contingencies. Best thing to do for the public, because of course I don't have it written down in front of me, is just go on our website. It's harrisclash.com, and you can see all of the supporters of this deal, and it just gets bigger every year.
Perfect.
And we've been doing this for 34 years. That just blows me away.
That's crazy. And every one of them has been special, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Probably my most special one was in 1997. Ken Schrader was driving our car, led well over half the race, took the white flag, and went in and broke a Panhard bar. So it was kind of disappointing that Kenny didn't get his name on that list. But then Kelly Sharrock was running second, which, he was at that time was one of our house cars. And so he went on to win. So that was good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of special guys. I mean, Kyle Strickler's won it twice. Tom Berry's won it twice. I mean, it's just, all these guys are special. And the thing of it is, even though we had a little trouble at Deer Creek with the crowd count, we never have had problems with the racers supporting this deal. We've always got a huge car count for this deal. So I'm just excited. I mean, the racers support this deal, and we try to support the racer.
Absolutely. And I guess one final question is, and I've asked you this many times, but I still like hearing the answer. is, could you have ever imagined 1992, you put a race together, and here we are 34 years later, and it's still going on strong, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting bigger and better, it seems like, every time.
I would have never dreamt that it would be. And it's kind of a deal where this is kind of my baby. I spend a lot of time working on this deal, and we just love to do it. I mean, it's not something that I do for financially, because all the sponsorship money and everything goes into the purse so that we can pay these guys a decent purse for a one-night show. And I just love doing it. And it's IMCA's oldest one-day event.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing how it unfolds. I'm crossing my fingers I get to see it boots on the ground in person. But Bob, I always thank you for your time, and I hope that it's a very successful event and it keeps building and building, and we'll be celebrating 50 years before we know it.
There you go. That would be pretty awesome. I would think that would be pretty cool. All right. Well, thanks, Ben. I appreciate the interview.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.